Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here tonight. This is your daily news report, fourth stimulus check update, and fourth stimulus package update. Senators in Congress want to include more relief into their new reconciliation bill. Nancy Pelosi faces a tightening squeeze between progressive and moderate Democrats over passing two key elements of President Biden's economic agenda. Progressive lawmakers say they will vote down the Senate-passed infrastructure bill unless it is linked to a multi-trillion-dollar social safety net bill that includes expanding health care, paid leave benefits, tackling climate change, and raising taxes on the wealthiest. But now, there are 9 moderate Democrats that say they won't vote to begin writing the $3.5 trillion bill until the House passes the infrastructure legislation that the Senate passed last week and then sends it to President Biden's desk. The intra-party fighting is over legislation that, for the most part, Democrats agree that they should pass. But the order in which the bills move through Congress has become a battle between moderates and progressives who are jockeying to maximize their leverage to shape in both bills. For months now, Nancy Pelosi has vowed to take the path preferred by her liberal members, which is backed by the White House. But she has a long track record of working to protect the moderate faction of her caucus, whose political futures are likely to be determined whether she remains in control of the House. Pelosi suggested a way out Sunday in a letter to her colleagues. The Rules Committee could set up a process to advance both measures at the same time. Her Deputy Chief of Staff, Drew Hamill, said her position has not changed. The House will not vote on final passage of the infrastructure bill until the Senate passes the other spending bill, a process that could still take weeks or even months. But the 9 moderates appeared to reject that approach, saying in a joint statement that they appreciated her offer, but that their view remains consistent on passing the infrastructure first. The conflicting demands put Nancy Pelosi in a high-stakes predicament with President Biden's agenda and Democrats' political fortunes in the midterm elections next year, which are hanging in the balance. She is seeking to pass an aggressive agenda with a paper-thin majority and just 3 votes to lose, seeing no hope of winning Republican support for a multi-trillion-dollar budget bill. Both of the packages are popular, and Democrats plan to run them in the midterms, hoping that voters will reward them for delivering results. House Democrats adopted a budget resolution, which was needed to unlock a filibuster-proof $3.5 trillion package, which is domestic spending and tax breaks, and also teed up a vote on a separate bipartisan infrastructure bill next month. The 222-12 vote capped off an eventful 24 hours of negotiating between Democratic leaders and a group of 10 party moderates who had planned to vote against a budget unless the infrastructure vote came first. While they did not get the demand met, they did get leadership to agree to holding the infrastructure vote no later than September 27th, which is a few days before the surface transportation authorizations are set to expire on October 1st. The budget was deemed adopted when the House adopted a rule-setting debate parameters for the Senate-passed infrastructure bill and voting rights legislation. The rule also included language that ensures the infrastructure bill will be brought to the floor by September 27th. The final rule that the House adopted was a third iteration, reported at the Rules Committee during the flurry of negotiations. The chamber passed a voting rights measure later Tuesday before recessing until September 20th later this month. Leadership is hoping to have the reconciliation package, which committees have a September 15th deadline. Leadership is hoping to have the reconciliation package, which committees have a September 15th deadline to assemble, ready for floor action around the same time as the infrastructure bill, with the goal of passing both by the end of this month. Everyone, the key word for this video is cookie. Please make sure to comment below the key word to enter my $75 Walmart gift card giveaway. The tight timeline indicates leadership has backed off its previous strategy. Speaker Nancy Pelosi had been saying for months that the House would not vote on the infrastructure bill until the Senate passed a reconciliation package. But now the House is expected to vote on the reconciliation bill before the Senate does, and the Senate may not have time to weigh in on the reconciliation bill before September 27th for the House infrastructure bill. but the House is expected to vote on the reconciliation before the Senate does, and the Senate may not have enough time to weigh in on the reconciliation bill before September 27th deadline for the House infrastructure vote. Although the Internal Revenue Service began sending out checks months ago, there are still many more direct deposits going out and payments being mailed. In fact, as recent as July 21st, the Internal Revenue Service announced that it had distributed another $2.2 million in stimulus payments. This money went to people who had not received any payments before, as well as to people who are owed plus-up payments. The plus-up payments are additional stimulus checks for people who had received less than the full amount due in their first payment. The Internal Revenue Service is still distributing payments into people's bank accounts because it is working through a backlog of 2020 tax returns. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I greatly appreciate it. To enter my giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, like this video, and also comment below the keyword of the day. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a very blessed Labor Day weekend.
Just two quick ones on the economy. Senator Mitch McConnell said that based on the meeting yesterday, the president understands that the 2017 tax law is no longer a part of the conversation about financing any bipartisan infrastructure deal. Is that an accurate assessment of the state of play?
Well, what the president understands is there's agreement, as is evidenced by Senator McConnell's comments, that we need to invest in infrastructure. We need to create jobs, that bridges are not Democratic or Republican. They don't have party affiliation, it turns out. How to pay for it has long been the area where we need to find more common ground. The president's proposed a way to pay for it. We have not seen proposals that wouldn't raise taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year. So if they feel that changing the 2017 tax laws, bringing it back to the rates that were the rates when George W. Bush was president, raising taxes on just 1% of Americans is not the way to do it, then we welcome what their alternatives are.
Just a kind of a broader economic question. The UI numbers kind of underscoring it's kind of been a bumpy last couple of weeks, which I think everybody kind of expects coming out of a once-in-a-century pandemic. But you characterize how important is the economic recovery continuing at a decent pace to your broader legislative goals? Like, does that underpin your ability to do the scale of the things that President Biden has put on the table?
Well, I would unpack that a little differently. We know that continuing to increase the pace of vaccinations, getting more people vaccinated, is going to have a direct impact on people going back to work for a range of reasons, including people feeling safe to do so, including childcare facilities opening up so that people can send their kids there. And we know that that has had a big impact, of course, over time. These are twin crises that are related. But the proposals the president has made for the American Jobs Plan, for the American Families Plan, there are certainly some impacts that will be very beneficial over the short term, additional assistance